Hello friends, welcome to the .NET Office. Today we are going to start about DevOps and it will be helpful to all the beginners and experienced developers. In this tutorial we will see history of the development methodology and we will understand about DevOps from beginning level to advanced level. So let's start DevOps, like how it is useful in our real life development phases and in the organization how it is helpful. So basically the agenda of this tutorial is, in this tutorial we will see like what all are the development methodology, and then we will see like why we use DevOps and why it came in market, and what is the DevOps. After looking like the use of the DevOps, we will see like what is the DevOps, and after that we will see DevOps lifecycle, then we will see DevOps the tools, and then we will see like the use case of the DevOps in the real market, like how company has adopted this DevOps in the real life. So this is the like agenda of this tutorial. So we, apart from this, we will see like what all are the tools available for different life cycle in the DevOps, like for the different life cycle, what all are the tools we use in the market. So let's start with the development methodology. So before coming to Agile and the DevOps, company used to work with waterfall model, and this model is documented in 1990 and came in market as use of developing the companies. In follow a linear fashion, the name of the waterfall came because it's just similar to the waterfall. Like once water has flowed over cliff, then it doesn't go back. In same fashion, the this waterfall methodology works. So like it's go. So in waterfall model, like once it go to the next step only when the requirement clear. As per the model show in the pic, user gather the requirement and do the analysis on it, and after the analysis developer start designing on it, and then we start implementing the application. Once the application done, then we start testing and then do the deployment on deployment server, and after this application goes live, then we do monitoring the website. But there are many disadvantage with this model. So let's talk about like what all are the disadvantage when we use the waterfall model. So like as per this waterfall model, once an application is in testing stage, then it is very difficult to go back and change something. Like we can see here, like suppose if we are in any testing phase and any new requirement comes, like we have to design this application in the different way, then from the testing phase going back to the requirement phase, it's very TD, because like we have to change the full code according to that requirement. So in this, like that is very difficult to go back from testing environment to change something, because we already have changed lot of the things, and like to develop that full changes almost we took around 1 or 2 months, then going back and changing in that, and looking for the changing area, it's very difficult. And like if we do any changes, then it give high amount of risk and uncertainty, and it's not a good model for complex and object oriented project. And obviously like if we are continuously making an application and market want everything as soon as comes on live the changes, then in that kind of scenario waterfall model is not a good practice, and it's a poor model for long and ongoing project. It means like suppose there is a one website, there user is used to take the changes as soon as possible, but as per the waterfall model says like first gather the requirement and design, then developer start to implement. So taking all these phases and doing testing, so it already take too much time, like around 1 or 2 months based on the changes, then it go on the deployment phase. So it's a very lengthy task, and going changes on the live, it itself a time taken, and after that it is a maintenance come, like once the code is deployed on the server, and there is a chance like on the server there is some issue, like we are not able to see the changes, then according to this waterfall model it's very risky to understand the changes and fixing those changes. To so to resolve this problem, agile methodology came. So like in waterfall model, until the deployment didn't come, like that deployment stage didn't come, website doesn't go live. Client or end user has to wait to complete the feature, then company need to develop the requirement and release the changes. And there is a chance that once website goes live, there can be problem in live, and mm, and again need to see full code, like once the website go live, there is a chance like we can face the problem on the live, but like coming back to the code and fixing and all this, again it's a very big task to making all the changes. So it's very difficult, and there is another problem is that for changes client has to wait for more time, and in real market that is not a good thing, because every requirement should be live as soon as possible, otherwise there is a chance that competitor can take the advantage. So to overcome this problem, this agile methodology came. So as per agile methodology, this is a practice which is capable to do continuous iteration development and testing in SDLC. So what is the SDLC? SDLC is basically software development life cycle. So basically this in this agile methodology, most of the company contain the task they divided into the sprint wise. So like every sprint is mostly 2 weeks, and they used to have scrum every day, like they used to take a live update every day, like if any person is got stuck on the development phase or the testing phase, so team used to work together and they find the solution of the particular task, and based on that they used to fix the issue. So basically every sprint they used to develop, they used to review the code, they used to build it, and they used to design. So in small portion they used to design the application, and in every design they used to application goes live, and like client can get the changes in very soon, every 2 week the changes can go live and user can take the changes. So that is the advantage of the agile methodology. Now like what is the difference, if we do the compare between the waterfall and the agile model, then what all are the comparison? So waterfall model is basically a linear model, and agile is a continuous model. So like we can see in the waterfall model, like first we gather the requirement, and then based on that we design and the implement, and the verification testing everything happen, then we do the maintenance. So it's a linear process, one by one every steps come once. But in the agile everything is a continuous process, like we can see in every iteration we do the planning, design and testing, and then we deploy on the server. So everything is going continuously, and even the changes can go live whenever it is needed. So that is the advantage of the agile, but still there are some limitation for the agile. And what all are the limitation? So as per agile development, team work continuously, but operation team doesn't work continuously. So what is the operation team? So operation team is nothing but the deployment team basically, where they what they do, they deploy the code on the production server. So that is the operation team. So in this case, like development team, they have the sprint, so they continuously works, but that operation team doesn't work continuously. So as they both sit opposite side because they don't have any idea and don't have proper communication as well. So as per agile, dev team look for the agility and operation looks for the stability. So example, like what example we can take, like once the developer start working, what they do in their system, this code works fine, the changes looks good, but once the code deploy on the server, production server, then might be because of the some packages and might be because of the some other problem, those changes is not working on the production. Then what this operation team thinks, like the code is not correct, and because of the code developer mistake, these changes is not working properly. So to resolve this problem, DevOps came in the picture. So basically, what is the DevOps? DevOps is a combination of the dev plus ops. So dev means developer and the tester, and ops means IT operation. So DevOps is a combination of the like uh, mm, like dev and ops basically, and it is resolve that agile problem. So DevOps is a methodology which reduce the gap between the dev team and the operation team. So as the name suggests, DevOps is a combination of the dev and ops, means developer and the operation teams work together. They communicate each other uh, uh, time to time to, to resolve the agile problem. So basically, like we will see now, like more about like what is the DevOps. So DevOps is known as Dev for development and Ops for the operation, where a DevOps engineer fulfill both developer and system admin role in order to provide continuous delivery and high software quality. DevOps automate many processes in software development and operation with using the tools and the technique. So in this diagram, we can see like there are different type of the stages, like test, building, code, plan, release, deployment, operate, monitor. So everything is going continuously. And for doing all those operations, there are different type of the tools which we use to do this continuous operation. So basically, like there are some tool like Git for versioning control, Jira for the testing purpose, Puppet is for continue integration, and same for the chef, and all these things is we used in the like uh, DevOps to do all the operation. Jenkins, Bamboo, and Nagios. So all these are the tools is used in the DevOps. And like for like a DevOps developer is not for knowing only the one part. A full DevOps developer is a developer who know everything from coding to the deployment to the server, and they should have knowledge on every tool, like on which part which tool is useful. So they should have knowledge on every tool. So that is only called a full DevOps developer. So that is the about the DevOps. And now we will see like what all are the DevOps life cycle which we use, and based on that, like we will see how it is useful in our real time. So like you can see here the DevOps life cycle within diagram. So basically, what is the DevOps life cycle? So DevOps is a continuous process. It describes an active connection between development and operation. In DevOps, all partner, including engineer, add to making the organization procedure quicker, progressively, effectively, and consistent. So this is the about the DevOps life cycle. So like to understand the DevOps, it is essential to understand the stages of the DevOps life cycle. The continuous DevOps life cycle incorporates 7 stages, as we can see in the diagram. So in this, like as of now, we will understand a short like what all are the steps, then we will see one by one all these stages in the briefly. So first we can see like development. So basically this development is a continuous development. So in DevOps stage, the development of the software take place consistently. In this phase, the entire development process is separated into a small development cycle. The benefit DevOps team to speed up software development and delivery process. So basically, in this continuous development process stage, we do the small changes like small changes into the branches, and we commit those changes into the major branch. So if any problems comes for the particular developer, we can identify and we can roll back changes. So that is very helpful for the like development side. And the next is continuous integration. In this stage, new functionality is integrated with the prevailing code, and testing take place. Continuous development is only possible due to continuous integration and testing. So like once we developed a small feature, and we have like commit that particular branch or particular changes into the server. So like because of this continuous integration, this continuous development only happen because in continuous integration, continuously what we do the testing, and we see like if there is any issue is there or not. Then next comes continue testing. So testing procedure analyze the real utilization of an application with the DevOps, and beta analyzer generate outcomes. Still they make sure that application is able to have its expected use in live domain. Like once we do the testing, like in the testing scenario, we should know like there should not be an error and before going the live. So that we do based on this. The testing procedure gives additional data about various dimensions of an application that is redirected to the development procedure to advance the application. So that is the continuous testing. And the next is continuous monitoring. So in this stage, the activity group will deal with the unseemly framework, conduct or bug which are discovered in the production. So monitoring is the main part, because in this monitoring continuously we check like there is any error came, or like something if we are going to make changes into the server. So continuously it check like any error came or not. If there is any error, then it stop the deployment there only. So once we fix that issue, then only we can proceed further. And in this monitor, we can create multiple tool to do the testing. Like if we want to review the code, like compiling the code, so for that we can create one task. Like if we have web APIs, so for testing the web API we can create the one tool, like we can create the task to testing the particular web API. And even if we want to like test the TSQL, so it will help to identify those kind of the error also. And the next is like feedback. So feedback is important to computerize the release. Continuous feedback provide information to all the stakeholder with respect to what is being sent and what issue are being occurred. So in DevOps, feedback is considered as information that is gathered from the client, and it's basically a contribution by the client to complete planning and the development. So that is the feedback. And the next is deployment. So basically we call all these things as a continuous, because in this diagram we can see there is a, this is the diagram, and every operation is happening continuously. So the next is continuous deployment. So the deployment process accomplished so that they like advanced made in the code must not influence the working of high traffic site. So basically like what happened in this, once the changes is done and everything is working as expected, so continuously we deploy the server. So every changes is live on the testing environment, production environment. So it will be easy for organization to understand like everything is working on the every environment and they don't face the problem. And the next is continuous operation. So all DevOps operations depend on the consistency and delivery process is completely computerized. So that is the like all the operation is the work on based on the tool. Like every stage in life cycle has their own tool, and that tool is the responsibility to do that particular task in DevOps lifecycle, and it enable company to quick the general time of the advertising. So everything happen using the tool. So the deployment and whatever the operation are there, they happen quickly. So that is the in short the development like DevOps lifecycle. Now we will see in brief like what all are the uh, like these are the life cycle. So first comes, as we have seen here, like continuous development. So basically this continuous development, before understanding that, we will see like what is the versioning control and why we use this versioning control in real life when we use the DevOps. So versioning control refer to a system that record changes to a file or set of files over time called the versions. Or in other words, if you want to know, like these versions help you to tracking the changes in your code project, and if necessary we can undo those changes. So suppose in this diagram what we can see, there is a master branch. So from that master branch we create a branch. So basically that branch is a child of this master branch. Now any developer is working on a particular task, so what they can do, instead of merging that code into the master branch, they commit the changes to the particular branch only, and then that particular branch is tested, and everything when looks good, it like merge the code into the master branch. So that is the advantage of the master branch. Now suppose while doing the testing on anything failure comes, we can do undo from here. We no need to do undo from the master branch. And even in future if we merge the changes and later we get to know like this requirement is not needed further, so what developer can do, or the deployment team what they can do, they can remove this particular branch from the master branch. So that is the big advantage of using this versioning control into the system. So basically there are three type of versioning control. One is the local version, next is the centralized version, and distributed version. So these all are the steps when we do the versioning into the like real scenario. So for that versioning control, there are many tools, but we will talk about the GitHub. Basically Git that provide us a facility to versioning the control. So before that, like we will understand like if we will not use this versioning control, then what all are the disadvantage, like what issue we will face. So like once what we can say, like all the changes, like if we will not use the versioning control, then what will happen, we will save the code, or we will commit the code into the one branch, and that branch is a permanent branch. So in future if we want to revert the changes or want to see anything, then it is very difficult to revert back, or what we can say, we have to override the code. So that is the problem. Another is like there is no record what was done by whom. So in this branch, basically here we have seen in this major branch, this create branch is done all for particular developer. Like particular developer is working on the one task, he only will create that branch, and he only will commit the changes and test the changes, and it will going to merge into the master branch. So if in future if any issue comes, organization or the operation team can get to know like who created this branch. So full track will be there for that particular code. So that is the advantage of this branching or versioning control into the system. Now the next comes like Git. It provides the versioning management for us. So Git is basically a distributed versioning control software which we need to install on our local system, or in order to use it for an individual working on a project alone, Git provide the excellence software. So basically like in this diagram you can see like this is the Git sign, and here our code is deployed. Now what happened, like we clone this code, like Git provide a clone in nothing but like copy that code into the local. So we clone that code into this local, and here we make some changes into the branch, and that branch we commit here. And basically like once we commit the changes, we push the code, and we come like then we do the pull request, and the changes we merge into the main branch. So this is the process, and like there are many steps comes in between. Like when we push the code into the server, it asks like do you want to review the code, like before like merging into the major branch. We can put like mandatory field, like before pushing there should be a mandatory, like some person should review that code, then only it will merge. So all those things can be handled here when we use this Git or any versioning control or source code management into the life cycle. So these are the things we use into the like versioning control, or what we can say continued development. Now next thing comes as a continue integration. So what is the continue integration? This is a basically a next life cycle. So it is a practice where developer commit the code into one same shared repository. So what we have discussed here, like all this is the shared repository, this is the master branch, this is a one shared repository. And here like many developers they create their own branch and do the commit and merge the branch. So this continue integration is basically uh, like all the means developer commit the code into one same shared repository, and every repository is allowed to build to detect an error on problem into the code. Like let's see in this diagram. So in this diagram what is happening here, many developers doing the code for the same software and commit the code into one repository, and that repository is basically into the GitHub. And like and then the changes like once like many developer is doing the work, they're doing the commit the code into the one repository. So basically this repository before going into the development phase or into the production server, what they do, it go into the Jenkins server. And what is the Jenkins server here? Now what is the use of this Jenkins server? So basically this Jenkins server notify like whatever the repository is coming, means whatever the changes is coming, those changes are fine, those changes are reviewed, and the code cleaning is proper or not. So many things basically is handled by this Jenkins server. And if anything failed or anything is notified by the team, then again it go back to that particular developer, or we can say that particular branch is assigned back to that particular developer. So that is the continue integration. So like if we use the Jenkins server, then what all are the advantage? So basically it is a open source tool with great community support, and it is very easy to install, and it has 1000+ plugins to as your work. If a plugin does not exist, you can code it and share it and with the community. So that advantage we have with the Jenkins server, and it's a free of cost, and it is built with Java, and hence it is a portable to all the major platform. So that is the big advantage of using the Jenkins, and we have seen the continue integration. And now next come what is the configuration management. So this configuration management is basically a important part for the DevOps life cycle. So before understanding this, let's take an example. Like suppose we build an application and we do the some code, and like we build or deploy the application on the test server, or we can say on the production server. Then like because of the dependency, there is a chance like it will not work on the testing server or the production server. Why it can happen? Like take an example, like some dependency run into the development server. Like we are doing code and there are some dependency on the packages, and we are currently using that packages as a latest version. Because of that, in our system it is working properly, but in the production server or the test server, that package is not up to date, or we are not using the latest version of that package. So might we, once we deploy the code into the server, then it is not working into the test server or the production server. So that can give the problem. Like so to resolve this problem, like how we can resolve this problem, then we use the configuration management. That then this stage comes. So like to resolve this issue in DevOps, a concept comes called infrastructure code, where we write the code in a central location and then need to deploy that code into the dev, testing and production side. So what happened, like we have that full code on at one central location. Like in the GitHub, we put that code on the GitHub is a central location. For an example, like if we use the GitHub, then GitHub is a central location where we kept the full data. Now what we can do, like on the GitHub, all the library and everything is the up to date. What we can do, we can download that code from there, we can do the changes, and same like we can create the branch and do the coding, and we can merge like into the branch. So this configuration management, these include coding, building, testing, packaging, releasing, configuration and monitoring. So this configuration management is important in DevOps because it helps us to automate. Otherwise it is very risky task, and allow an organization to increase agility. So this configuration management is basically important for our deployment phase, and we don't face any problem into the deployment phase. Because of that, we use this in our environment. So that is the stage. Now the next comes like for configuration management tool, like what we can use. So there are so many tools available here, like in what all are the tools we can use. So there are so many, like SolarWind is the tool, and there are different tool is also available, like CF engine is also is a configuration tool which we use in the DevOps, and Puppet we use, and apart from this we can use the Chef. So these are the configuration tools. Those allow us to kind of the issue, like we can centralize the code. So we are going to talk about like how Puppet work as a configuration management in the DevOps. So Puppet is basically a open source software configuration management tool. It is used for deploying, configuring and managing server. It uses a master slave architecture. Like configuration are pulled from the master by the nodes. So basically here is the from the master we pull the request using the node, and we do the operation. So basically like Puppet basically it's a free up to 10 nodes, and like when we get more nodes, then there is a cost of this. So why this Puppet is chosen. So basically it is very easy to learn the programming language like DSL, and it is a open source and it is a good community support. The like there are some feature, and some feature what are all are like reporting and compiling and event inception and automated provision. So these all are the some benefits we get when we use the Puppet for configuration management tool. So that is about the configuration tool. Now the next is like continue testing. So what is the use of this continue testing? So as we know, like testing is a very important part, and like in this testing what we do, like this is the main step for every application. Like this is a stage where developed software is continuously tested for bug. Like in continue testing, automation testing tools like Selenium, TestNG, JUnit are used. These tools allow QA to test multiple code base thoroughly in parallel to ensure that there are no flaw in the functionality. Flaw. So basically they check like there should not be any problem into the code or into the build basically. So they check for the many things, and like like if we take an example of the Selenium, so Selenium does the automation testing and the report are generated by the test ng. This entire testing phase can be automated with the help of the continuous integration tool called uh, Jenkins. Suppose we have written a Selenium code in the Java or test application. Now we can build this code using like Ant or Maven. These are the different tools. Once the code is built, it is tested by user acceptance testing. The entire process can be automated using the Jenkins. So automation testing saves lot of time, effort or labor of executing the test instead of doing this manually. So suppose using this Jenkins server, what we can do, one developer is working on one feature, and like he commit the code into the source control, and like the those changes go to into the build. Then what we can do in according to the continuous testing, before going to like before deploying that code into the development server QA prod server, we can automate this phase like unit test phase. We can automate like internally it compile the code and check like there is no error. Once everything fine, it automatically deploy those changes into the particular environment. So we can do that using the Jenkins server. So like in this like according to that continue integration, like in that continue integration we have seen like previously, like in this this is the Jenkins server. In this Jenkins server we do that operation like in automatically, like a multiple user commit the code, then that repository is tested by the Jenkins server. So that we have seen. So that only we are talking about, like before going into the deployment server, like on the server we can do the yeah, like continue testing using the Jenkins server. So that is the continue testing. Now the next thing comes continue monitoring and the feedback. So that is the next step of the like DevOps life cycle. So what all are these and why we utilize this continue monitoring and the feedback? So basically this continue monitoring is very important, and this is a very crucial stage of the DevOps life cycle where we continuously monitor the performance of our application, and here like vital information about the use of the software is recorded. This information is processed to recognize the proper functionality of the application. The system errors such as low memory, server not reachable, etc. are resolved in this phase. The root cause of any issue is determined in this phase, it maintain the security and availability of the service. Also, it if there are any network issue, they are resolved in this phase only. It help us to automatically fix the problem as soon as they are detected. So that is, this is very crucial, like life cycle of this DevOps, because most of the things like going into the like after the testing, all these things is checked, like every configuration and everything is fine or not. So in this phase only, like we can also improve the productivity and increase the reliability of the system, which is turns reduce the IT support cost. Any major issue if found are reported to the development team so that it can be fixed into the continuous development phase. This leads to a faster resolution of the problem. So what is the meaning of this? Like in this phase, if we face any problem, then what we can do into the, like, the already all the process is going on. So we have seen, like previously in the continuous development, sprint is going on. So if we face any issue here, we get any issue here, then we can tell to the continuous development team to fix that issue, and we can overcome that issue. And based on that, we can give the feedback, we can get the feedback from the client, and we can give to the developer, and they can take action on this. And the next comes is like continuous deployment. So we have seen all the stages of the DevOps life cycle. So the next and final steps is like continuous deployment. And what is that? So this is a phase that involve planning and coding for the software. The vision of the project is decided during the planning phase, and the developer begin developing the code for the application. There are no DevOps tools that are required for planning, but there are a number of the tool for managing the code. The code can be written in any language, but it is maintained by using version control tools. Maintaining the code is referred to as source code management. The most people tool used to like for this deployment, most of the people use like Git, SVN, Jira. So there are so many tools which is used to the continuous deployment in the DevOps. So in that way, like it is very useful. Like we have already discussed, like Git is a distributed version control tool that support distributed non-linear workflow by providing data assurance of developing quality software. Tools like Git enable communication between the development and the operation team. And when we develop a large product with a we are developing a large project with a huge number of the collaborators, it is very important to have communication between the collaborators while making changes in the project. And commit message in the Git is a very important role in communicating among the team. So this Git provide us a very useful thing for the deployment server. Like in this diagram, we can see a particular team is working. Then like these all are the steps comes when it go into the deployment server, or we can say into the production server. Like on the Git, or here the example is like SCM VCM, we like insert the commit the changes, then it is taken to the server, and then from server it is taken to the UAT, or we can say the QA team. Here the testing done, then it go to the deployment server or the production server. So this is the continuous deployment. And now we will see like these all are the life cycle of this DevOps, where we find the many things, and it is continuous a process where we don't stuck, and all the changes will be live in like one or like as per the sprint, like 2-3 weeks. So now we will see a small case study of the Netflix, and in the description link you can see a link of the case study of this Netflix, and you can go to that link, you can refer that link and can know brief about the Netflix. So I'm going to tell the overview like how they have used this DevOps and how it like utilize for them to take over the DevOps. So basically, like as per the uh, one of the like colleague of that Netflix, like Yuri, told like our journey to the cloud and Netflix began in August of 2008 when we experienced a major database corruption and for 3 days could not ship DVDs to our member. That is when we realized that we had to move away from the vertically scaled single point of failure like relational database in our data center towards highly reliable, horizontally scalable and distributed system into the client. So like we already know, like Netflix team, they started for selling the DVD initial days, but like as he mentioned here, like because of the some major database corruption, they were facing to ship the DVD, and they decided to go into the distributed cloud like system into the cloud. Then they launched that application, and everything we can see online or on the cloud. So for that purpose they use this DevOps because it is a continuous process for everything. And in the description section you can see the link where you can see more about like what is the major case study of the Netflix. So that is only the DevOps, like the basic information of the DevOps basically we can say. And mostly we have covered everything in this tutorial, like how the development methodology start and how the DevOps came into the picture and what all are the life cycles. So that is only the DevOps we can understand more about. So thank you, please subscribe to the channel. Thank you.